Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Zurban Auto. Today I'm attempting to fix this old 2008 Dodge Grande Caravan with the 3.3 liter engine, as you see there. So it's been to the graveyard almost twice now and come back, did head gasket job, a bunch of engine work on it, and now the computer has failed. So I got no spark on one of the coil packs. It's not sparking. And when I check the wiring, I don't have a signal coming from the computer. So after new coils and plugs and wires and all that's been done, it's come back to the computer is not firing for that coil. And it's a waste spark system, so it fires two coils at the same time. I don't remember what the numbers were. Was it 1 and 6 or 1 and 3? Anyway, so I knew it's the computer now. I'm going into the computer. It's full of goop. Come on. Let's see if I can find a problem. Guys, I'm getting excited. I think I might have just found the problem in my PCM here for my Caravan. I got no spark going to the coil for, I think, 3 and 6, whichever one it is. One of the coils isn't working. Coil control number 3, so that's pin 7 in connector 2, which I have found, and so I'm just probing around to see where that goes because I have no diagrams. Nobody's going to give you a diagram for one of these. And look what I found as I'm probing. I found a driver here for that, and then when I go in to push on the back, watch this. Did you see it? Did you see it? Look at that. It has desoldered itself. It's loose. When I went to test it, it literally pushed down. Could that be it right there? No connection? Maybe the transistor's not failed. It just desoldered itself. Oh, man. Upon testing, I had current flow in both directions on that transistor, and you're not supposed to have that. But just for kicks, I resoldered the back of it where it was loose and stuck it back in the car. And I thought, you know what? Maybe it's okay. Maybe I don't know what I'm doing and it'll be fine. So here I'm testing it out and still no spark. So we're still missing. Yep, still missing. So I zoom in and I found the number there. It's a 4416AA. Couldn't find a data sheet which explains how it works, but I found a 10-pack. So I ordered it up, and another month or two later off AliExpress, nothing express about them, I got the chips and I could put it in this little tester that I picked up as well. I finally got it to read here by switching it over here, and it's saying it's a BJT NPN. If you're interested, pause the video. Here's a full description of what that means. Now let's test the old one. Oh, this one measures as a resistor. That's funny. It is broken. Wow. So there's the proof. The transistor has failed. It became a resistor conducting in both directions, and we need to replace it. So prepare to be horrified if you're a professional micro soldering expert. But this was a learning process. I was picking up new equipment along the way, discovering low melt solder, which I needed to get this chip off the back, because the whole back is soldered on there. It just sucks up the heat, and I couldn't get the whole thing to release together. So what you do is you add low melt solder, and that flows in, combines with the original solder, therefore lowering the melting point of the solder, which is now both of them mixed together, and that allows you to desolder the chip with a lot more ease. A lot less heat is needed. So at the beginning, how the back had desoldered itself, and because of that, I was able to remove it, and I was cleaning the pads, and my gun, I think my iron was dirty, and I pushed way too hard. using the braid to clean up the pads, and I broke the pad for the leg there, the lower leg that you can see. So this made it way more tricky. Now I need to add a jumper wire. So another fun learning curve thing, but it makes it more tricky. So don't damage your pads. Don't rub back and forth like crazy with your solder braid trying to clean the pads like I did. Just try and have it soak up the solder. You'll see that in a second here. So it's very hard to heat up 3 points at the same time with a soldering iron. If you got hot tweezers, you can get 2 of them. But anyway, that's why I'm switching over to the hot air, and I'm heating up the whole transistor, and it literally shoots out of my tweezers. So it worked, the low melt solder. I was able to get it off. So now I got to clean up these pads, and there's the broken pad. You can see it. It sticks to my braid a few times. And just remember, this is really zoomed in. With all the shaking going on, I'm only shaking a couple millimeters. You know, I'm making up all the excuses I can, but... Ooh, I love that part. Add more flux, they say, right? Put the iron in there and just juices it all over. Clean everything up real good. Flux is nice. It's your friend. Get the braid on there. I'm trying to clean these pads. You want to get all the low melt solder off before you put your chip on. Otherwise, the chip warms up. Chip, I'm calling it a chip again. Otherwise, the transistor heats up. It could just desolder itself because this stuff melts at like 40 Celsius or something, right? So you don't want to have it left on. Come on, you can do it. Go to your home pad. Go to your home. Go to your home. Okay, then I'm going to add some solder paste to the pads and to the back. I guess I didn't have the footage of that, but basically you just put a dab on each of them with the syringe. The amount, I guess you just got to practice and figure out how much is going to flow based on how much you put down. But I did end up adding some normal solder. I want to call it solder. That's what I've always called it, okay? So I'm going to call it solder, and you can call it solder, whatever you want to call it. Okay? So now I get to play with that jumper wire. The good thing is with the jumper wire that the pin that broke the pad is actually the base, which means it doesn't run a lot of current through it. It's just the trigger to run the large current through the emitter and collector. So I got a little bit lucky on that. So there's not going to be a ton of current through this jumper wire. It doesn't have to run a lot. So it just needs to be connected. So this was a little tricky, but I was able to get a good dab on the end of that resistor and on the pad. Then I wanted to build up the rest of them too. That looked like it needed a little more coverage, so I put some there. Then I start messing around with the back of the chip. Not sure if I needed to do that, but get some more solder flowing in there. And then I decide to stick it right here and suck out all the solder that I just put under the pad. I don't know if that's exactly what's happening, but maybe to some degree, so not sure if that's what you needed to do. But I hit it again, and I make sure I push down because I wanted to be sure that I had good contact. So after 12 different times of fooling around with it, clean the top of there, get all that old solder off of there, I think we got a good connection. I think I got a good connection. We'll see what happens. All right, computer's fixed. Let's see if we got a spark. Oh, I got a spark. One more. Okay. Yeah, baby. Guys, the Caravan is back to life, running on all 6. I am just so glad that that worked. Hopefully it'll keep working. We'll see how that computer does. But I'd call that a success. I learned a lot. So if you don't want to go the route of fixing it, you can buy a computer programmed to your VIN for around $190 from Amazon. So that could be an option. You got to have it programmed to your VIN so it works with your chip keys. I've had a repair with my keys in the past, so I wasn't sure if that would be a problem for me. But anyway, I just wanted to try it and see if this would work for the time being. So far, so good. Going on a month now. If you got this far, you don't have huge levels of ADD. Congratulations. And thank you for watching. Consider subscribing. See you next time.